I've been reading very briefly and just little articles here and there to confirm a suspicion that I have, which is that TikTok is evil than what's something that everybody thinks is evil. Shirley Temple. Look. Well, it probably is, isn't it, right? Like, what did Shirley Temple ever do? She didn't orchestrate any genocides. Can you leave Shirley out of this? Let's talk about TikTok. TikTok is an acceleration of what has been happening with social media. Yes, everyone's going to say, here's the irony. I bet you never thought about this. You make a living off of social media, so how about you just get off it? No, I'm going to exploit everybody's attention spans and dopamine levels so that I can purvey messages that I think is somewhat beneficial to them. At least I can, interrupt the melee of Minecraft and chicks shaking their asses that are like, okay. Don't you think there's always just one chick that we're yay? And then, why do you have 2.5 million followers? Because there's a lot of Indians in the world. It's always the same. Why are they so unashamed with just, that classic Instagram clickbait being like, nice, baby. I couldn't do it. Anyway, TikTok is particularly bad because TikTok is the next stage. Now, this is something that was pointed out by my editor, and all of the studies and obviously all of the search engineering and whatnot that goes into these apps is just improving. But you can feel it. Every year, it gets a little more addictive. As I've stated before, and this is just with Facebook. Just with Facebook. Probably the least addictive out of all of them. Maybe YouTube. Facebook has and does employ people that used to be employed in casinos to keep you at the jackpot thingamabob. It is fairly late at night. You know that thing that I'm talking about. Slot machine. The slot machine, they're paid to get that technology and put it on Facebook. So it has the same addictive qualities as that. Classic example that I always like to do is to give out the point that dopamine, and we all know what that is, don't we? Well, anyway, in short, dopamine is the drug that is released every time you ever say anything like, here's what happened next. Here's something that you didn't know. Every time I'm saying that, you're probably, there's a question firing off in your mind of, what is it? What happened next? That happens, hyper mode, on, say, something like Facebook, because there's just this endless scrolling of, maybe the next picture might be interesting. No, it's not. Maybe the next picture might be interesting. It's yet another guy from Queensland with his kids out the front being like, happiest decision of my life. We get it. You have a nice life. I still wouldn't trade mine with yours. You have a beer gut a little bit too early in life, and kids that are a little too old. For my standards anyway. What is this, the Middle Ages? Yep. I had them when I'm 16, 24 now, and they're 8. Jesus. I suppose maybe fishing does put everything into perspective. Maybe old people are right. You don't really need that much to be happy. Maybe it is just the secret to life is fishing a lot and going to Coles, and in between that, getting really cheap fish and chips. Sunshine Coast in a nutshell. What happened with that is that every time there is this new piece of information that is coming out at you, your brain gets a little more addicted. It just keeps expending dopamine and holds you there longer and longer. The more dopamine that is released in the mind, the more that it gives off this rattly thing of, I've got to know. Like, you just need the completion. That is what is keeping you on in social media. Okay? That's Facebook. Same thing that's happening on YouTube as well. But that's what's happening on YouTube and Facebook. Now I want you to think about what the fuck TikTok is. TikTok is mostly, I know the merciful of them, yes, definitely. They put out minute-long pieces, but most of it is just 15-second pieces of hyper-attention-grabbing content, which is mostly just guys eating gross stuff and chicks shaking asses endlessly. Doesn't give you a break. Stop, start, just keeps going. Endless videos getting pumped in front of you. Here you go, here's another. Even me doing this is keeping your attention. Just this hand waving like this. Obviously, people that have all of your favorite tunes, just 15 seconds of the best part, something hilarious happening, something just insane and crazy. Oh my God, he's playing the fishbone like it's a xylophone. All of that stuff is keeping your attention better than anything that mankind has ever conceived, because goddamn Chinese are on. Which, yeah, everybody always says, it's something to take over because the Chinese government is after you. Yeah, well, what do you think the tech giants are doing? It's all just a race for attention keeping and data retention, which is exactly what TikTok does. Now, obviously, I am not going to rescind this because I'm still trying to get these messages out to these people. In fact, I think I'm going to chop this up and put it on TikTok. The ultimate irony. However, this is just for you, for the Jordan Shanks crew. You got to get that shit out of your life. I remember doing this video a couple of years back of saying that your phone is really damaging your mental health. The studies are in. It just absolutely shatters self-confidence. It absolutely shatters self-esteem because your brain is seeing this endless line of hot people doing awesome things, and so that becomes its standard, but it gives you no insight or clue or connection to those people as well. So you're not getting any oxytocin whatsoever. You're getting dopamine. This is why I used to always look to Gen Z and think, wow, they really are kings amongst men, aren't they? They've really figured out, because they've just trained themselves from being in front of a computer their whole life. They're kind of just as wise as that tree wizard in Game of Thrones, because they've seen it all many a time in many a perspective. But now that I'm looking at it more, no, what actually happens is they've all just gotten addicted to TikTok and they're all shot. And you know what I've noticed about Gen Z? Okay, yes, there are the hyper attention grabbers that really want to be famous. And obviously TikTok facilitates that greatly. All in human generations, you have never had to exert such little energy to become so famous. Yes, that's true. But to the vast majority of people, the idea of having yourself any sludge on the net at all is terrifying to these people. And I think that they are constantly walking around the same way that people in Soviet Russia do, of their eyes darting around as they walk down the street because they're thinking, is there a security camera there? Is this guy going to call me out? That is what is happening to these people. I really do see it. I remember being 19 and being awkward and, somewhat scared of people that are a bit older than you. Not to this level. Not to this level. I'll give you a really good example of this. Someone that I know is just always with housemates who shall remain nameless, who's my age, but they're always hanging around 19-year-olds that are in university. One that really sticks out, but all of them do the same. One was a dux of her selective school. Yeah? I think she's in her early 20s at this point. Got into medicine, at a good university, no problems whatsoever. Then TikTok came along. Obviously, it was in a smaller form, but she got into it. You know what she does now? Before that, she was outgoing, confident, highly intelligent. As soon as she got into TikTok, this is the change. She walks into the door after... She quit university, by the way. Quit university, is now working at Coles. And in between that, she went, oh, okay, medicine's not that good. Okay, I'm going to go into arts. Yeah, I'll try out arts. Wow, what a great improvement that is. And then, straight after that, I'll get a job, the same one that immigrants can't speak English. Yeah, I'll go do that job. From there to there, early 20s. She's already fucked her life, right? Now, she's just going to be walking around with this in her hand, and she does this. She comes home, enters the door, doesn't even say anything anymore, darts around nervously, that classic Gen Z stare, just instantly closes the room, can't engage in any social contact whatsoever, completely shot. Wasn't like this a couple of years ago. Now she is, and she sits in there watching TikTok. You knock on the door to, hey, come in, still watching it, 4 hours. They even asked her, how long do you spend on this? She said 4 hours a day. If she's saying 4 hours a day, do you think that she's actually on it for 4 hours a day? Of course not. She's on it for 30 seconds. No, she's going to be on it at every free moment that she has. This is the other thing, because it's just the thing that comes into your mind. It's the same thing with social media. The same thing with social media every time is, I've got time to fill, I'm going to fill it with that. That's why people don't get bored anymore. That's why they don't ruminate. That's why ideas don't swill around in their minds. It completely saps any creativity whatsoever, completely sucks you in, which is just damning for your soul anyway. The fact that you are alive and you are not allowed to create those little images in your head, that you're not allowed to move forward with any progression at all, Scary enough. But here's the other thing. She will always defend it as saying, no, I learned a lot of stuff from TikTok. Well, the stats are in on that too. You don't. Even if there's educational TikTok, and you can see it, apparently, if you go and talk to her response will be every time, yeah, well, what did you learn? I can't remember anything. You're not retaining any of the information. You can't retain any of the information. Your brain is flooded with dopamine. And also, for you to learn anything, you need to go into a deep state in your brain. For you to retain that information, you need to be almost in a trance-like state. That's when you learn best. You do not learn when your attention is constantly divvied. You know, if you are taken out of your attention loop for even a split second, you know how long it takes your brain to get back into optimal concentration mode? 20 to 30 minutes. That is not happening when you're on TikTok. You're getting interrupted every 15 seconds. And what have I said about the long-term trajectory of this just with social media? Just with social media, the long-term trajectory of that is our generation, but Gen Z especially. Yes, a few of them will become mega celebrities. Okay, that's their finance, I think, secured. Maybe. I don't even know if you can make money on TikTok because I'm that much of a boomer. But, you know, for the vast majority of people that are watching, that's just what's happened from them. They've devolved from being in a university for medicine to working at Coles. Because you do not have the attention span to learn anything of substance anymore, so you aren't developing any skills. This is scary stuff. TikTok is a completely different breed. Something else will take it as well. But this constant fracturing of your attention, if you are watching this, if you want to succeed in life, that's step number one. As I'm always saying, yes, social media, I suppose, in our day and age, you can argue, for my instance as well, necessary evil. I think in most circumstances, you can most rightly just exclude it from your life and you would be a lot better off if you did. I really do think that. If you're a carpenter, for instance, unless you are doing those how-to tutorials every other second, you should be blocking it out. This is a reminder to myself as well. This is a reminder that I should be always blocking it out. Now, the first step, as I'm constantly saying in the other previous videos, is to get self-control. Get that app self-control, put it on your phone minimum. I think you should get rid of it and get a dumb phone. That's my advice. You know what? People come up to me all the time with the brick that I have and say, you can play Snake 2 and that's all you need. And their life is better for it. You can write it down. There's going to be a bunch of people sitting there trying to justify their habit of, oh, but how I get around without a map? Yeah, it's a little bit harder. But do you want to develop a skill in life? Get rid of the fucking phone. Then, the other thing that everybody always does is that they write down all of the negative things. The next thing that you want to be doing all the time is you want to be flooding your brain with dopamine so that you can even press the self-control app. Otherwise, you will convince yourself over and over, not at the moment, I've got something important to do. You never do. Here's the tip to life. When you're studying, anything time that you ever put on self-control, you will see that your productivity just skyrockets anyway because you've got no other options but to do it. But the other thing is, you just write down anything that you need to look up on the internet. Then you're actually using the internet productively. Now, this is easier said than done. What you are going to do every time you do it beforehand is you are going to excite yourself. You are going to excite yourself by either jumping up and down, dancing to a song that you like. I know it sounds stupid, but you do it. And you do that so you can flood yourself with excitement so you're like, I don't need it at all anymore. And then you press it. That's how it's done. If you found that useful, and I just saved your life. I saved your life. You owe me. You should sign up to Jordan Shanks because I will give you a bunch of other life-saving strategies. The ones that are on there, behind the secret wall of mystery, especially if you get to the second tier. My God, I have some good information on that. I'll give it to you for a fraction of the price that it cost me to attain it, because that's my gift. The other reason that I do it is I'm always trying to coax you out of it, because the thing is, if you just put in a minimal investment, the tiny amount of money that you will not be able to spend better on anything, there is no way that you would be spending that $2 on anything more beneficial than what is on that. Not a chance. However, spending that $2 on it, you look at it, the reason that I want you to be spending that money on it, not that I even need the money really, it's mostly to put this idea in your mind that this is valuable and therefore I have to pay attention to it and act on it. There is a massive difference between the two. Just taking free advice, there is a difference. It's actually just a massive, there's studies into this, right? Like you go to a, below average orchestra, but you had to pay $400 for the ticket, people will walk out and say, oh, masterful. You even disguise, say, the Russian Symphony Orchestra, and then you just pay $20 for the ticket. People will walk out, it's nothing. It's mostly just another thing like this about like getting yourself excited so you don't go on TikTok, put yourself on self-control so you get out of that habit. You really need to get it because this is the same as meth. I'm telling you, TikTok is activating the same parts of your brain that get activated when you go to meth. Obviously, meth is just another level. Imagine being on meth watching TikTok. Fuck me. Right. Sign up to Jordan Shanks. Make sure that you like, make sure that you subscribe, and all that other social media stuff that is designed to keep your attention.